Hello everyone. This part 2 video is the continuation of your history third chapter, the Delhi Sultanate. Let's start with Tughlaq dynasty. Muhammad bin Tughlaq. Tughlaq dynasty was founded by Ghazuddin Tughlaq, who died in 1325 CE, and he was succeeded by his own son Jauna Khan, who took the title Muhammad bin Tughlaq. It is said that he was a brilliant man with ideas far ahead of his times, but he was not practical, so most of his ideas failed. This made him unpopular among the people who failed to appreciate his vision. Muhammad bin Tughlaq laid stress on merit and raised many people of humble origin to high positions. This offended many of the nobles and they refused to cooperate with him. His empire covered the Deccan and southern states which Alauddin had not annexed, and also Orissa and Bengal. He administered the Deccan and the south directly. During his last years, there were many rebellions. The size of his huge empire created problems for him, as the Sultan rushed through one place to another to suppress the rebellions. Shifting the capital. Muhammad bin Tughlaq decided to shift his capital from Delhi to Daulatabad. He thought it would be the ideal place from where he would be able to control both North and the South India. Everyone was asked to move to Daulatabad, which was about 1500 kilometers away from Delhi. The Sultan ordered people to move to Daulatabad, promising them money and property. He announced that Delhi will be set on fire. Women in parda and Sufi saints were dragged by their hair out of the house. Many children died because they had no milk. Only 1/10 of the people reached Daulatabad. In this way, Sultan destroyed a well-populated city. Later, the Sultan decided to return to Delhi as he could not check Mongol invasion from Daulatabad. Many more people died in the way back. It caused a lot of dissatisfaction among the people. Token currency. In an attempt to obtain more revenue, Tughlaq decided to issue token coins in copper and bronze. They had same value as of gold and silver coins called tankas, as now people could buy any commodity with the bronze coin as they had done with the silver tanka. Since gold and silver are more valuable as a metal, people accumulated these coins and used only bronze or copper coins for trade. Common people started making fake coins and it caused chaos in trade and commerce. Firoz Shah Tughlaq 1351 to 1388 CE. He succeeded his cousin Muhammad bin Tughlaq and became the Delhi Sultan. He faced many rebellions including Bengal, Gujarat and Warangal district. Firoz probably learned many lessons from his cousin Muhammad bin Tughlaq. He decided not to reconquer areas that had already been broken. He decided to keep nobles and the ulemas happy so that they could allow him to rule his kingdom peacefully. In fact, almost all the rebellion during his rule were inherited from Muhammad bin Tughlaq. He allowed a noble son to succeed to his father's position and Jagir after his death. Same was done in the army, where an old soldier can send his son, son-in-law or even his slaves in his place. He increased the salaries of the nobles. He stopped all kinds of harsh punishments. He also lowered the land taxes that Muhammad bin Tughlaq had raised. He worked to improve the infrastructure of the empire. He also built canals, rest houses, hospitals, borewells, tube wells to improve agriculture. Firoz Shah Tughlaq instituted economic policies to increase the living standard of his people. Many houses like sarais, garden and tombs were built. A number of madrasas were opened to encourage literacy. 10 years after the death of Firoz Shah Tughlaq, Naseeruddin Mahmud has taken over the throne. During that time, Taimur, a Mongol ruler, invaded India in 1398 CE. He looted the cities and towns. The Sayyid dynasty 1414 to 1451 CE. The Sayyid dynasty was the fourth dynasty of the Delhi Sultanate. They succeeded the Tughlaq dynasty and ruled the Sultanate until they were displaced by the Lodi dynasty. The central authority of the Delhi Sultanate became weak by the invasion of Taimur in 1398 CE. After the period of chaos, where the central authority did not prevail, the Sayyid gained power at Delhi. The 37-year period of dominance witnessed the rule of four different members of the dynasty. Khizr Khan Sayyid 1414 to 1421 CE. He was deputized by Timur to be the governor of the Multan, Punjab and parts of Sindh. He took Delhi from Daulat Khan on 28 May 1414 and founded the Sayyid dynasty. He did not take up the title of Sultan. After his death, Mubarak Shah Sayyid 1421 to 1434 ascended the throne. He had the potential to revive the lost pride of the Delhi Sultanate, but the nobilities were not in his favor. Despite his outlook, Mubarak Shah could do nothing much for his sultanate, as most of his time and energy was spent in controlling and pacifying the nobles. His nephew Muhammad Shah succeeded him in 1434 to 1443 CE. The nobles made things more difficult for Muhammad and became a powerful force for him to handle. He managed to occupy the throne for 9 years. He called up his son Alam Shah from Baudan and nominated him as his successor. Alauddin Alam Shah Sayyid 1443 to 1451 CE. He was the last ruler of Sayyid dynasty. In 1443, Bahlul Khan attacked Delhi, but he did not succeed. During the rule of last Sayyid ruler, Bahlul Khan again made another unsuccessful attempt to capture Delhi in 1443. Finally, Alam Shah decided to leave Delhi and settled in Budhan district in Uttar Pradesh. This was the fall of the Sayyid dynasty. The Lodi dynasty 1451 to 1526 CE. This was an Afghan dynasty that conquered northern parts of India from 1451 to 1526 CE. It was founded by Bahlul Khan Lodi when he replaced the Sayyid dynasty, and this dynasty ended after Ibrahim Lodi when he was defeated by Babur from Kabul in the first Battle of Panipat in 1526 CE. Bahlul Khan Lodi 1451 to 1489. He was the founder of the Lodi dynasty of the Delhi Sultanate in India. He was born into an Afghan family of traders and became a renowned warrior and governor of Sindh and Mewa. Bahlul became Sultan of the dynasty on 19th April 1451. In 1497, Sultan Bahlul Khan Lodi annexed Jaunpur. Bahlul Khan did much to stop rebellion and uprising of his enemies in his territories and extending his control over Bihar, Jaunpur and Upper Uttar Pradesh. His son Sikandar Lodi succeeded the throne of Delhi Sultanate after his father in 1489 CE. Sikandar Lodi 1489 to 1517 CE. He became the next ruler of the Lodi dynasty. He expanded the Lodi territory up to the Bihar and Bengal. Ibrahim Lodi, 1517 to 1526 CE. He obtained the throne upon the death of his father Sikandar Lodi, but was not blessed with same ruling capabilities. He faced numerous rebellions. His Afghan nobility eventually invited Babur to invade India. Ibrahim died on 21st April 1526 in the First Battle of Panipat with Babur's superior artillery, and the assertion of many of the Lodi soldiers led to his downfall. So here we end with the Lodi dynasty. Now let's start with Sultanate administration. The Sultan was the head of the administration. The language of administration was Persian. He was advised by the trusted nobles and ulemas for religious matters. Ulemas were the priests. He derived power by introducing the divine right of kingship, that means monarchy, according to which the ruler is the representative of God on earth. So Sultan means what? God on earth. Sultan introduced the rituals of Sijda and Paibos to ascertain his superiority. Sijda means lying face down to the Sultan. Paibos means kissing the ground before the Sultan. So through such rituals, people showed their tribute to the Sultan. Division of the empire. The Sultanate was divided into iktas or state under the charge of muftis and walis. The ikta, that is state, was further subdivided into shiks. Shiks means district, which were placed under shikdars. The shiks were further subdivided into parganas. Parganas means village, and these parganas were placed under amils. A pargana consisted of a number of villages. The village headman or mukaddam headed the village. The patwari kept the land records, and the munsif supervised the collection of the land revenue. So, likewise, for each and every level, supervisors were in charge who looked after their assigned duties. Now, next is Department of Administration. The king ruled with the help of ministers who were in charge of various departments. Now let's talk about the first, that is Financial Department. Financial Department was called as Diwan-e-Wizrat. This department was headed by Wazir. This department consisted of income, expenditure and collection of revenue. Second is Aris-e-Mumulik. This department consists of military department. It look after the army and military affairs. Then third is the Chief Sadar or the Chief Qazi, looked after all the charities and headed the Department of Justice. Agrarian conditions. Agrarian means agricultural condition. Now let's talk about the agricultural condition during Sultanate period. The big ikta, that is the big lands, were totally under the control of higher department, and small lands were under the control of individual soldiers. The Delhi Sultanate imposed various taxes upon the peasant, and through those taxes they were administering their kingdom. Tax like land tax, that is Karaj, house tax, that is Gari, and tax on cattle, that is Cherai. The rate of the tax collected was very high. During Alauddin Khilji's rule, the revenue was based on actual measurement of land, while during Ghiyasuddin Tughlaq's rule, it was based on crop sharing. Corrupted revenue officers used to harass the peasants, and likewise here we talked about the agricultural conditions during Delhi Sultanate. Now let's talk about the final topic of this chapter, Downfall of the Sultanate. Following are the some of the factors that deals with downfall of the Sultanate rule. The first reason talks about those rulers who were very weak. Rulers like Nazaruddin Mahmud and Firoz Shah Tughlaq. These both sultans were very weak and they were totally manipulated by the nobles. Because of this, they became very unpopular amongst their own people. Second point talks about decentralization of power. King decentralized the power into the various nobilities, and these nobilities were not that much loyal to the sultans. The third point talks about where foreign invaders attacked weak empire like Mongol attack the Delhi Sultanate and conquer Delhi under them. And at last, the sultans did not follow the law of primogeniture. Primogeniture talks about where the eldest son succeeds his father as a ruler. This led to many quarrel, many fight between the brothers, between the father and son. Likewise, all these were the reasons for the downfall of the Delhi Sultanate. So here we end with this chapter. Thank you.